good to have you with us today. I hope that you've been enjoying the weather. It's been really nice to be cooled down a little bit, to have the sun shining, to have had a little rain. We really hope that you've been able to get out and enjoy God's creation a little bit, no matter where you are. So for this week's meditation, we are still in the Gospel of Mark. We move towards the end of the 5th chapter for this week. So what happens in this story? Well, Jesus and the disciples, they come back to the other side of the shore, which is now Jewish territory. And it's about as soon as Jesus gets off of the boat, a leader of the synagogue named Jairus comes to him and pleads to him to heal his 12-year-old daughter. And then on the way to heal his daughter, then we have the story of the bleeding woman who just touches his cloak, and Jesus turns around and tries to find her. And then while he's in that conversation with the woman, he's told that the daughter has died of Jairus, that he's no longer needed, but to go ahead and make it to the house, and they healed her. So what's going on here? Well, one of the things that we notice is this literary device that we call an intercalation, and I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, but an intercalation is an insert. They use the term in chemistry and biology, but also in liturgy or literacy. That there's this, Marx puts a story within a story for a reason. It is so that the readers might have a fuller understanding of what's going on. All Gospels use the intercalations, but the Gospel of Mark uses it quite often in his writing. So what happens here is Jesus is on his way to Jairus' house, and he's interrupted. This is a new story within a story. And most of the intercalations do deal with this playing on past and future, confusing us about the past and the future. It plays with it. So how does that work in this story? Well, we find out that Jairus' daughter is 12 years old. And the bleeding woman has had her disease for 12 years. That means that when the bleeding started, that the young girl was born. And then when Jesus heals the bleeding woman, it is when we hear the daughter dies. See that play between past and future. That play with presence. And part of what's going on in this story is Jairus is a man of status and reputation within his community. The bleeding woman has no status and no reputation. So what is it that Mark's really trying to tell us? It's always a good question, right? What is it the Gospels are trying to get across to the disciples that they need to know in order to be a follower of Jesus? Well, one of the things that I hear within this story is that for Jesus, right, the status makes no difference. He does heal Jairus' daughter. He does help the one withstanding in his community, but he also helps the one without standing in his community, the one who's outside. So there is no distinction on where Christ's empathy lies, which means there is no limits to God's compassion for those who have and those who have not. But it also tells us, to a certain degree, that for those who seek Jesus, that those who are looking for a relationship with Christ will find one. That they will not be turned away. And that they will find some salvation, even if it's not physical. We all know healings don't happen for everybody. Even for those who believe that healings don't always happen, at least physically. But salvation is more than just the body, it's more than just the soul, it's more than just the mind. And salvation is a holistic sense. And that you can find if you seek Jesus out. So I hope you read the stories and come to your own conclusions, your own understanding, and to see how that interruption works and how that works to explain a bigger picture. Have a good week. We'll see you next time.